You may have heard that we have rumors that Apple is going to launch a new type of MacBook, a cheaper Mac or a cheaper Mac laptop. But this time it's not with an M-series chip, but it's said to be powered by one of those iPhone processors. I thought we could make a video to sort of try to break down what that means and how that compares to current Macs which are out, whether this really makes sense. Price is rumored to be around $599 for that MacBook for the base model, and if we compare that to the MacBook Air, which usually starts at $999. Apparently Apple here wants to compete in the lower end laptop market, and usually what we have there is sort of underpowered Windows machines, and cheaper Chromebooks. And if Apple can bring some of the efficiency they have in their chips to this space, I think they could actually capture a big share if they can sort of keep the price. So it's a rumor that this MacBook is going to run one of the iPhone chips, so if it's like the A18 chip or A19 or some other variant of the iPhone CPU that's not out yet, it wouldn't be better than, for example, an M3 or an M4. But for example, if you're going to do everyday tasks like email, writing, browsing, streaming, and you can even do some probably light creative work, I think that the performance probably would be good. If you remember the M1 MacBook Air, which is still a really good machine, it handles office tasks, photo editing, and I mean even light video editing and photoshopping without any issues. And if you have a laptop which is powered by an iPhone chip, I think it could deliver similar results compared to, for example, the M1. In addition to that, you will probably get a really good battery life thanks to the power efficiency of the iPhone CPU. There are probably going to be some trade-offs to keep the price low. You probably won't have any Thunderbolt support. You might have limited external display options. You might not be able to run more than, for example, one external display. Maybe you can't run it in extremely high resolutions or extremely high refresh rates. But I mean, for casual users and for education or anyone that just needs a reliable laptop to take on the go, to have a communication up and going, and you want something else than the iPad OS or the iPhone OS, you want a desktop experience, I think that could be a compelling machine actually. So performance-wise, it's supposed to be maybe around the M1 in performance. And if you have followed my channel, you know that I have done some music production tests on M1 laptops. For example, the 8GB M1 MacBook Air. I have done some music production on that, and it works just fine. And you can see a short clip of that here. So what you just saw is also probably something that you would be able to run on a MacBook of this type of size. I think that, I don't know, but I think that Apple's strategy here is also that they might want to push more of their services. I mean, a cheaper MacBook might come with limited storage. With that, you would of course be encouraged to subscribe to iCloud, Apple Music, or maybe Apple One, because you have the integration with iCloud in macOS with the drive and all of that. Then you can perhaps keep the hardware price lower, and Apple can maybe profit from recurring subscriptions to their iCloud and services, which they are probably want to push more. One thing I think people are going to be confused about is that if you look at the iPad Pro, that is running the M4 chip, but the iPad Pro is running iPad OS. But the iPad Pro doesn't offer the full desktop experience, where the MacBook with a lower powered CPU will probably give you the Mac experience. So there's sort of an issue there. If you're a person that doesn't really know much about computers and you think that, okay, the M4 CPU is better than the iPhone CPU, but then you have to go, if you want to go to get the M4 CPU, you either have to go for the MacBook Air, for example, or you could also get it in the iPad. And I think it's important that people realize what OS they get with their machines when you are going to buy something new. If you're going to buy iPad or iPhone, you are in the more walled garden OS. You can't do much. You can't run the fully fledged applications on these devices. But if you want to run the fully fledged applications and have a little more control of the system yourself, you have to go for a desktop experience, which the MacBook is probably going to be. And it is a little bit difficult to be a consumer of Apple products nowadays, especially when you are going to select what type of CPU and stuff you're going to use in your Apple product. It's not easy to know how certain applications respond to certain type of CPU cores. For example, you have efficiency cores and you have performance cores. In the MacBook Air, for example, Apple advertise it as I think it's a 10-core machine, so you have 4 performance cores and 6 efficiency cores. But if you use Logic, it will only use the performance cores. But if you use, for example, music production software like Reaper or Cubase, it will use the efficiency cores as well. So it's like if you need more performance on Logic, you might have to go up for the M4 Pro with more performance cores. And it's a whole thing. I talk about that on my channel in other videos as well. So I hope that Apple can make this more clear for people when they select their Macs, how they are going to work with the specific type of software you're going to use. So Apple have made smaller laptops before. They have made the Retina MacBook Pro, which I had a repair video on this channel before. They have made smaller, like the iBook and like the 12-inch PowerBook. They are no stranger to making small and really nice looking machines. But the problem here is that the price of these machines have always been pretty high. And that's obviously the reasons why you haven't seen these machines in the, for example, education space and all of those types of organizations. If Apple is able to pull this off and make a MacBook that can sort of compete with the Chromebook, I don't know if they're going to compete with the Chromebook because that's really cheap, but sort of in that range, they will fill a gap. Yeah, that means more students, schools, and people that cares about their budget, they can join the Apple ecosystem. And I mean, once you're into the Apple ecosystem, you are more likely to stay. Apple obviously knows that, and you might also be more likely to sort of pay for the Apple services, reoccurring revenue, and stuff like that. So I think it's great for Apple. They are probably going to release this, but I think it can be great for someone that actually want to get into the Apple ecosystem and you want a portable device and you can't just bring a Mac Mini with you. One thing I have been thinking about, and I'm not sure if I was going to take this in this video, it's going to be a little bit nerdy, but it's about, let's say, the iPad and the iPhone. So if I'm going to buy a new iPhone 17, it's going to cost, I don't know, like $2,000 or something like that. Where I live, my employer is going to pay a little bit of it, but I have to pay something out of pocket. I think Apple could, if they wanted, they could make the iPhone so that you can just connect it to a display and a keyboard and you get a desktop experience. And it would be really cool if you could get the Mac OS desktop experience. It could be run in some kind of protected system inside the iPhone. Then you can run Mac OS apps. You can run the full version of Logic. You can run the full version of Photoshop, Affinity, and all of that. And then you might say, well, you don't get the performance of a desktop PC. Well, maybe not, but I don't know if you can sort of tell people that you can't expect desktop performance, but you have this possibility. Yeah, that's just something I'm thinking about. I think that's technologically possible, even with the iPad Pro. The iPad Pro is using an M4 CPU, but I think that would be perhaps confuse consumers more, and Apple don't want to do that, they say, but what my comments say on my videos is that either I am not explaining things good enough for you people watching this video. If that's the case, I have to work better on that. Or it's that Apple's CPUs and Apple software, you don't really know how they perform on different types of computers, and yeah, we need to actually test it and show it to you people, because Apple doesn't really do that. So that was a little rant, but the MacBook looks interesting. What do you think? Would you buy an $599 MacBook powered by an iPhone chip? Leave your comments in the comments box below. And if you want to support, I have my own sort of Patreon below, or you can become a member of the channel. It's the same thing depending on where you want to go. And you will get access to my unreleased music and my entire music catalog depending on what you select, and probably more in the months and years coming. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.